Hi, this is Greg Johnson with Blue Book Services, and this is Week in Review. I'm joined as always by Pamela Riemann-Schneider, our retail editor. And Pamela should be calling in from Fruit Logistica because it's supposed to be this week. You are sort of there.
Yeah, I mean, if they had Fruit Logistica this week here in Berlin, it would have been a really challenging experience because there's so many restrictions for Germans, the N95 masks and showing your vaccination status everywhere you go. It's a bit of a challenge logistically, pun intended. But so they decided to move it to April, which means that a lot of folks in North America would have a conflict with CPMA, which I do as well. So I already had my plane ticket. I already had a vacation plan the week after. So I decided to come store check. And so that's what I'm doing.
And there's not even snow. Every time I've gone, there's been a foot of snow on the ground.
Actually, I got here on Monday and it was snowing, but the sun was shining. But now it's in the 40s. It's not that cold here. So it's actually quite nice. It rained a little bit, but other than that, it's been really great weather to get around and take a look at some stores. What has been really funny is that I've been coming to this city for 9 years now, for Fruit Logistica, and every time I find better stores because I feel like, I don't know, is the internet getting easier to navigate? But my friend and I found some of the biggest German grocery stores I've ever seen. We went to a Rewe, we went to Kaufland, and of course we went to Edeka. And I finally found the giant Edeka with the farms on the inside, the lettuce and the herb farms. So really fascinating stuff. And I also found this one that you cut your own pineapple in, and I did it, of course, because I had to try it.
So are people actually buying those lettuces that are grown in the store? Did you see people doing that?
So the lettuces were actually in this like salad bar thing where they're making their own salads, and I didn't see anyone harvesting them and putting them there. But the herbs that were grown by In-Farm were actually little cones that were displayed right there, merchandised right there, and you could see like the growth cycle of each different herb. And I don't know how many folks have ever experienced German cooking. It's highly underrated, but they use a lot of fresh herbs. And a lot of them are sold in the stores, and a lot of them are actually sold as little grow packs of microgreens and things like that. So I could see that some people would be buying them, and they were actually displayed in a very easy and shoppable way.
Well, speaking of In-Farm, we had some news on In-Farm. They're going to open up a store or a facility that's very close to where you live.
Yeah, we got that news release this week where I saw that In-Farm is actually going in my neighborhood down south on the south side of Boston in Kyle, Texas. It's their second facility in North America. And these aren't the in-store operations. The in-store operations, they have a few in North America, in Canada, in some stores. And then I believe on the West Coast, they've got some maybe in Safeway, maybe a few other locations. But this is actually the big ones where they're growing like commercial quantities to distribute to food service and retail. So they're putting another one in Austin, and then I believe they have a few more plans already. So a lot of growth in the indoor farming sector, especially in Texas lately.
Well, In-Farm already has a big facility in the Seattle area, and we have other news this week about a company expanding in that same region.
Yeah, Seattle, what's up with that? The former Shenandoah Growers, a very familiar name for a long time in the produce industry, known for what it's doing. It's proprietary technology for growing organically indoors, which has been a debate. I can recall them being on a panel at the Organic Produce Summit back in the summer, talking about how they've figured out a way to grow in soil, and they rebranded to I don't know if it's Soli or Soli. What do you think?
I think it's Soli, and I believe I saw on their website that that's Latin, or I believe it's Latin for, you'll never believe it, soil.
Well, anyway, Shenandoah Growers was already huge, right? And now they, said they're going to build a facility in Seattle. But in the release, if you read a little farther down, they got half a dozen in progress and another half a dozen or so ready to go. That this is huge expansion for that company.
Yeah, it says they will have a total of 15 soil-based indoor farms throughout the US. So that would represent a pretty good size operation.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, my arm is dying as I'm holding this and stealing Wi-Fi from the store in front of me. That one of my favorite places to eat. A lot of people who have been to Fruit Logistica, if you know, you've been there. That's the Kaufhaus de Westens over there. It used to have the coolest produce department in the world. One of those places where you see everything you'd ever want to see, like, Australian cherries for $30 a pound. They remodeled it a few years ago to focus more on the food hall concept, and downsize the produce department to more of just like a showpiece, more like what you'd see at an Italy. But the food's still good, so I'm gonna
Well, I'll
sign
tell you,
off
I
from
definitely
here.
have been there. It's a beautiful store. And the first time I went about 15 years ago, I remember taking pictures in the store and having a very big German security guard tell me no photos were allowed for my not phone camera, an actual camera. And I
Yeah.
suspect that's not the case anymore.
Yeah, phones are pretty ubiquitous now, and no one says anything anymore, it seems like. So if you could skulk around and be sneaky about it, you can get it done. But I had some potatoes up there at one of the food halls yesterday, and they were just as good as I remembered.
Well, I am happy to hear that, and I will let you drop your arm down so you can relax and get back to your trip. Good checking
All
in with you.
right.